We're going to talk about finishing that bore through from the video before. We're also going to talk about some fittings, and we're going to say congratulations to Mr. Fleetwood. All next on What's My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and this is the McGolf Shop, where we talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. If you would, see that stuff that's going across the bottom right there? Says, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Please do that. Like and subscribe and hit that bell if you're watching it on YouTube. That way you get more of these videos when they come out. All righty. Also, as another shameless plug, I do have my other channels called Pars and Pours, and it's a Golf Century Whiskey channel. If you tend to like that kind of stuff, join me over there. We're doing the Ryder Cup, which is coming up really quick. Okay, so let's get started with, before we normally get to the topic, we talk about the stuff that we did. Well, we can do it either way we want. So congratulations to Mr. Fleetwood, a guy that was always the bridesmaid but never the bride. Pulled it on home in commanding fashion with a couple stroke lead on. And if you're going to do it, I mean, win on a tournament that they're going to give you 10 million on. I mean, hey, why not? Set a little history, have a little fun, and enjoy it. I just hoping this opens up the floodgates and he's figured out that's what winning feels like. So congrats to him. All righty. And so that wasn't too bad. All right, so some stuff that we did in the shop. First one is an Adele lab, or he wanted an MMT in there. He wanted an MMT shaft in it, and he wanted that grip that you see, which is the Tour Velvet full cord. And so what we got here is, I believe it's a 7 or an 8 iron. Anyway, what he wants it in there, and he asked me for a D3 swing weight, and I thought, here we go. It's going to be a light shaft again, and and he says, but he can always change out the weights. Well, I put it together, made it to the length that he wanted, and came out D3.5. So couldn't have been any nicer than that. Another set, if you got to see that, the Ping Zings. I don't know if I showed you that one before. Nice set of those. It was a 3 and a 7. Those went with some Acra fairway wood shafts. Those guys right there, some stiff fairway wood shafts. Not too bad. And then we already showed you the Tacomas once before. So we did that, and there was another repair that we did with some fairway wood shafts, which brings us to a Mizuno driver for a young lady, and we glued up another Ping So here's the deal. We did a video on doing a bore through, well, actually doing shaft pulls. And we did a shaft pull on a normal shaft pull. We did a shaft pull on an older club. And then we did a shaft pull on these Callaway, they're Callaway Fusions, I think. Callaway Fusion hybrids. Now, the thing that makes those kinds of different is that they're a bore-through hybrid. You really don't see those anymore. And they have this ultra shiny bottom on it. So in the first one, we show you how they go together, right? It's as you notice that inside the hosel, there's it steps, right? It steps, and that's so that the ferrule can take up some space. Why is that? So because when it goes into the ferrule, so when the shaft goes in, that it's protected around the heel area where a lot of golfers will hit the golf ball, and it doesn't snap off. That was a big problem in the Berthas. People are snapping them off because they were either hitting them on the shaft or very, very near it, and it just didn't have enough protection. So they made these, and they were difficult to repair for a lot of people, and so they kind of fell out of favor. I thought they were very nice looking, but you have to you got to have to know kind of what you're doing. So I'm taking you through this. So what had happened was I started the video and somewhere in there the battery died on it, and I had 3/4 of a charge. So I don't know if it shorted on me or what. So I'm going to kind of lead you into it. I caught it, but after I already worked it over some. So you're going to see me using it's called a jet multi-tool, and it's got a big arm that sticks out. And you use these belts. This is a nylon belt. All right, and this is a blue one. And this is a red one, obviously. The red one is more coarse, okay? The red one is more coarse. The blue one is not so much. And what I use those for typically is to eat away some of the material. Now, if you guys watched it, there was a chunk that was sticking out, and that was a tip pin and some shaft. In other cases, I'll and just cut them off. Well, that was different. I think we lost power for just a second. Anyway, I do with the crimpers or this, and the idea is I'm looking for a clean cut. All right, I don't like snapping it off. I don't need to grind it because all it does is causes we want to get this thing ground down as fast as we can because we don't want to put a lot of heat back into the head to allow the epoxy to break. Right? We don't want to do that. The blue or the red or even some regular sandpaper stuff, what I can do is I'll normally go to this blue one and I'll dress it up around bore through, and that's to take off extra stuff and get it. Now what you've done is you've left it kind of scratched. The sole is scratched, and that's where this guy comes in. And this is a belt, and it used to say the name on it, but anyway, it's a 1200 grit. The 1200 grit is they have a special name for it, but the 1200 grit, and what it does is for lack of a lot of smaller grooves. And why is that? Well, that makes room for the stitched buffing wheel. And the stitched buffing wheel is hay. It feels like hay that's been made into a disc, and it's stitched into certain diameters in order to make it firm. And what we do is we put that on it, and that's Black Rouge. Black is a very high-end polisher as far as grit goes. And what it does is it finishes what the 1200 grit sandpaper did. So that 1200 grits, but
you're freezing in and out.
I don't know why.
I don't either, but I'm not the only one.
But I'm not now. It's got to be it's the internet.
I don't know why. But other people are seeing it too.
Well, I can't do anything about it. The internet's bad.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Hopefully it stops doing what it's doing. So anyway, what we're doing is we're down to the polishing aspect of it, and that's what I'm going to show you right here. Zoom had some technical difficulty. I don't know when my camera decided to turn off on a fresh battery. Anyway, we had the shaft sticking out here, you guys may have seen, and I cut the end off, and then what I was doing, I was grinding it down using the blue belt, which is less aggressive than my red belt. The idea here is we got to, when it's all done, so we want to minimize the groove. So the least amount of grit you can use, meaning a higher number, the better off you are. And we're going to end up with a 12. It was pretty boogered up pretty good, but this is where we're at for right now. All right, hopefully you can see that. I'll get it up in there and show you there. So over to the 1200, and the 1200 is there. You think, well, geez, Jim, you're doing more sanding. Yeah, I am, but I am sanding it more fine so that when I go to polish it, it's an easier, shinier. So let's do that. All right, starting back up again. That's what you see is the way we clean this out. I'm going to do a little bit more polishing, but as you can see, it actually turned out pretty nice. I got the little bit of a mark back in here that I'm not really happy with. Right now we can see it's very, very clear here. It's very, very clear here, and it's actually very clear right here. So I'm going to go around it, and what you again to fall off. But what you saw is I was going this way and I was going this way. It's called cross hatching. It's in order to get all the grooves out, all the polishing. Okay, so now it looks actually a little bit more shiny, as you can tell, and we've got all the way down and through. Now you saw me working this thing with a knife. Every once in a while what will happen is the glue will start trying to come out the sides, and it gets really ornery and it doesn't want to leave with the rest of it. So what we're doing here is we're cleaning it up so that it can look good, right? You don't want any of that overflow on there. So there we go, we got her, and now it's just to cut them to size and put it on grips. So if you like what you saw, like and subscribe. I know we're going to be using this on the live stream, so take a look on the live stream. And hey, let's see your scores. Go low. Alrighty, so there we go. So what you were seeing there was the final polishing part of it, and that was the stitch buffing wheel with this, and you got to see in the background that I had the blue belt on it still. And the idea there is that the Black Rouge polishes it up, as you saw, into a high, bright shine. And that's what you need for that particular issue. Now, if you're doing something that has more of a satiny finish and you want to see the grain, then you will use something that's way more aggressive, quite possibly the blue belt or even the red belt, depending on the level of grain that you want to see. Now, can you do that by hand? Yeah, but it's going to, the polishing part, no. You might be able to use a Dremel tool, because you need something that's going to spin and is going to be able to apply that. Now, a word of warning, if you go to try this and you're using this with a stitch buffing wheel, you will create heat because you're polishing. You're actually moving a little bit of metal. And when you go to do that, you put a lot of heat into the club. So you want to go into that sparingly. You don't want to lean into it for very, very long for fear that you can melt something, heat something up that you don't want to heat up, or something along that line. So you want to be very, very, very careful about that. Okay, back to a couple other things. So we've gotten through what I've done as far as that goes. Last thing is I got a different bit of a shirt that Mrs. McGolf found me, and this is the pattern. So it's both. It's golf and bourbon. It even says so, bourbon and golf, and it's got all that kind of stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. And what we had for, we always got to show you what we threw on the barbecue. And we did some ribs and we did some chicken, of which I had one this afternoon for dinner just before getting in there. So anyway, that's part of doing the repair that is a bore through. Not many people like doing it anymore, number one, because it's very tedious. And number two, there's a lot of room for error. And number three, it's hard, right? And a lot of people don't like doing what's hard. All right, onward to our fittings. So did two really good fittings this weekend, and they're both for women. And one was for a 17-year-old, and one was for, we'll just say, an older lady. And they're both looking to try and figure out why the driver doesn't work, why the irons don't work, that kind of thing. And so we started with the 17-year-old, and she had a very, very vertical swing. That, I mean, we're almost straight up, and she was pushing everything to the right, and couldn't figure out why. Well, she was already quite short, right? She was in between I would say if she was pushing 5 foot, that was about it. And when you swing vertical, that plane makes the swing even shorter. So, if you're swinging like this as opposed to like this, you can't use as much of the club as you think you could. So you had to choke down. And the other part is because she's swinging so vertical, the line angle needed to be up. And so I watched her hit, and everything going off to the right, going off to the right, going off the right. And I said, give me one of your clubs. And she did. And I went and I bent it 2 degrees up. And I told her, just choke down an inch. Let's just see what happens. Choke down an inch. And she commenced to hitting it down the middle. And she commenced to hitting it about a club and a half longer. So it's a difference. So when they say, does club length matter? Absolutely it matters. Not only does it matter, but if it makes you hit it better and it's shorter, you're going to hit it further. And so anybody's, you got to have this longer club is full of crud. And so we got to watch that when you hear that kind of stuff. Now, from a physics point of view, equal, then yeah, but we're all golfers, and guess what? We're not equal. And so we got her on that. That got her listening. Then we got her into the driver. Now, knowing what we saw in the irons, I did the same kind of concept in the driver. We had to really shorten it down. It was a 43-inch driver, which is a very good reason why she says, I absolutely kill my 3-wood. Well, it's because it's the right length. So what we did is I gave her everything I could give her as draw bias, because all the draw bias clubs are very upright. Okay, so that would help her center the club into the face, because when she was looking at the club, it was so far away from her. The club was like this at address, and so we had to get that down, right? And that's what we did, and we got it closer to her. We knocked some of it off, and then it became an issue with the type of shaft. She swung, and she was in the middle of the regular range, and she had all these lady shafts in it, but her swing being vertical, where's a lot of straight down torque and coming around, she was literally leaving the club face open. So I gave her a regular flex, but then it was important. This is where one of the few times her profile really showed up and made a difference. So I've got 2 VRTXs over here. One's blue and one's red. Blue is one that's a little bit more stout, made for the lower ball flight, where the red is made for the higher ball flight. And I gave her a 50R in each one of them. And she absolutely destroyed it in the red, because the club was allowed to snap through the swing, right? The blue one, which is a little more stout, is going to stay on track, and she wasn't really telling the shaft to close down, and off to the side it went. So same parameters, 50 gram R-Flex, but different profiles made a huge difference in the way that she hit the ball. Not only that, but again, she hit it further. She hit it further in carry, okay? And that's a big deal. That's a real big deal. Now for her other one, she came in here, plays a lot of golf, knew what we were getting into. However, again, we had to talk about length of the golf club and weight of the golf club. All right, and this was another one where in certain aspects, this lady was swinging. Now she would swing aggressively. not smooth like up and down, but she would swing aggressively, really pulling down hard. And although her swing speed may have not have been warranted a regular flex, the minute I put it in there, it straightened a lot of stuff out. All right, and then so that was it, and then we had to take her out of this ladies dynamic of being in a ladies club and putting her into more of a players style club, one that because a lot of this, when they give you something forgiving in the ladies section, it's got a super wide sole, it's got a tremendous amount of offset, and it's very, very forgiving, but sometimes you just don't need all that, and she did not. And so we ended up getting into her it was a draw bias club, but everything was smaller. And once we did that, and we got her into, it was a lady flex club, but we had two ladies flex, and again, it was just the opposite. The ladies flex that had pieces of flower on, it was a really nice shaft, but it was very, very flexible, and the profile would have been very forgiving, and she just couldn't control it, which was basically already in her clubs. So what I did is I gave her a dart in the ladies flex. Well, if you guys know anything about recoils, the recoil is that stout, more, profile. And as soon as she got into that, started pounding it down there. And so that's kind of what the rhythm was. So for the 17-year-old, it was regular flex, but more friendlier, snap through kind of shafts. Where for the lady, it was 50 gram regular, but in the more stout profile, or in the regular flex that was a lower weight class in that same kind of profile. So it goes to show you that you got to go through and get the whole thing in order to make sure everything marries up together. That was really, really cool. And it was neat. We also did a putter for the lady, and it was amazing that she was a pretty good putter, but would leave things out to the right, and it was because the putter was literally an inch and a half too long. The minute we took that out, she was missing everything to the left because she was finally closing the club, and now we had to take out some of the toe droop on it, and then all of a sudden it's right back in it. So there's all these little bits and tweaks. I didn't do too much with their swing. The one I did as far as how to finish, but the other one I did not. So it's about working with swings, not working against them, and that's where we got. So we got all that, and my last thing, we're going to go back and forth. I went to Indiana yesterday to Hard Truth, and we met up with some high school friends, and I just think that's a really cool picture. I just think the truck is really neat. It's got the barrels on it. I always just thought having one like that would be really cool. However, that was my viewfinder all the way home. Just hoping that nothing would fell off, and it didn't. So good for us. All righty, so let's get to it. Let's figure out what we're doing. All right, Matt's on. 77 yesterday. Very happy with that score, with the way he hit the ball, chipped and putted. Question: what's the very best way to convince a player to go and get a proper fitting? Well, being as how we're all ego people, Matt, chances are is if you come off of a fitting and you're spanking the guy that you're golfing against, or the gal that you're golfing against, chances are that's going to be enough. Because if you show an improvement from before you went to after you went, that's normally it sells itself. Other ones, if there are things that are just obvious, right? For clubs that we'll just say too long or too short, or even too heavy, and let them try something else. But that's how we do it. Grayling Slayer, hello everyone. Cold and rainy in Alaska. So we bought 6 millimeter brass stock and made some club weights. Can't afford to order from GolfWorks just for head weights and shipping fees. Well, yeah. Well, that's when you got to buy a little bit more, bud. At least that's what GolfWorks would tell you. Dremel workstation, jeweler's anvil, and a little heat and hammering managed to make close to $5,000. Hey, there you go. That's a pretty sweet spot. Well done. Nothing like handmade. That's cool, Grayling. I'm sure you have to do that with a lot of stuff we take for granted going to the store. Oh my God, yeah. Yes, there's a lot of time faster and cheaper. Greetings, everyone. Jim Robb, fellow golfers, from the host of the World Am. Is that on? That should be on right now, right? Yeah, we're looking at it right now. How's that going? I'd like to hear about that. Charlie Booker's batch 1 for 2025. Barry's batch. Very nice. Don says, very nice rounds. Matt, must have been almost an autopilot. I know I play better when I just picture the shot and not my swing. Yes, that would be, I need to do that myself. Nice round, Matt, especially with lack of playing time. Yes. Maybe I can get out there and shoot a 77. Not, but hey, it'd be fun. I'm going to try and break 80, that's for sure. Rob says hi to Matt and Sally. John, this is Grayling Center. Well done. Kudos for being able to manufacture what is needed. A little ingenuity goes a long way. Yes, it does. Robin saying hello to Grayling, to John. There's Mr. Jesse. How are you, sir? How is Atlanta? Is it hot? Everything this is cool. Sally's drinking Lake Erie Highball. All right. That's what we want to see. So, which took me from the Jesse thing. We had a turn in the weather here. It went from that brutally hot crud that we were all complaining and crying about last Monday, and to yesterday, I walked out to the car and it was 57 degrees out. I don't think it got any above 85, which is just like being in air conditioning. Man, oh man, does it feel better. Wow, just amazing what 10 degrees will do. There's Charlie. My dog Rex says, hit that thumbs up, students. Thank you, sir. Matt, I have to know what that is. Lake Erie Highball. Well, he'll tell you here in a moment. Can agree. At last, Tommy got over the line, but the one to win, no doubt. Now, Kent, the real question is he going to be on that? Was it the list of people, the best golfers not to win a major? He's got to get off all those bad karma lists. Michael, aloha, Jim and Robin from Gore, sunny Maryland. Maryland, with this aloha, I thought maybe you were coming out of Hawaii. Sunny Maryland. Okay. Where at in sunny Maryland? That would be all inquiring minds want to know. Says I, Charlie. What is a Lake Erie Highball? What does it have in it? Uh-oh, now we got two questions, man. Water and ice, laugh out loud. She is still working. Okay, now we know. All right, Charlie's saying hello, Robin, and he's saying to Jesse, oh, here you go, Peter. Played first round of the AM. How'd you do, bud? We want to hear good things. You've been tearing it up all over the place. I want to see you tote that green marble. Or no, it's a blue marble. Or did they change it? I was rooting Tommy. He's a class act. I was too. I was rooting for him, and I was rooting for Scotty to do a typical Scotty Scheffler comeback thing, and he was getting through that hard portion of it, and he birdied the hardest hole in the course, and I thought, here we go. He's springboarding in there, right? Because just at the time before that, Tommy had a bogey. The guy's playing with hit a birdie, two swing shot. Here comes Scotty, and he gets his birdie, and he went from being four strokes out to 2 strokes, and I thought, oh, here it is. This is how it gets stolen from him again. And what Scotty do? He puts it in the water, and I just absolutely cussed the radio, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He had the opportunity of a lifetime right there. And then about 3 other golfers right behind him proceed to do the exact same thing. So I know me telling Scotty Scheffler that was a bonehead play. I'm sure he knew that already. All righty. Matt, sometimes you just show the guy your scorecard and explain how many strokes you shaved off during the fitting. It resonates with a few folks, others not so much. Yep, exactly right. Water and ice still on the clock. That's a good one. Really nice kid for sure, Charlie. He does. He comes off as he does. Tommy comes off as just a super nice guy. I believe he's married, right? And just super nice guy. Doesn't let things get to him too bad. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad he won, and he can carry that going forward, uh, and take that into the Ryder Cup with him, and hopefully he does some really good stuff there. Okay. There we go. Matt's laughing. Travis K. would love to see how to get a rattle out of a driver head. Ooh, there's a good one. So, if you're looking, Travis, to try and figure out how to do it, the most basic way is that you have a golf club. All right, it's a Wilson D9. It's one of my fitting clubs. And what happens is you go, and there's some sort of little teeny like rock rattle floating around in here. So how these are made is that they're internally welded into a vacuum, at least most of them are, in order to try and minimize slag so they don't have a whole bunch of crud floating around in there, and they try and knock it out. Once it's all sealed and stuff, what they'll do is they'll inject it with this stuff called rat glue, which is short for rattle stop. And you can buy it at Golf Works. Grayling, I don't know if you're going to be able to make this stuff or not. And and what they do is they inject it in there, and they inject just about enough just this nice little thin layer that would be down in here. It doesn't take much, an ounce or two maybe, okay? And it slides down in here, and it's that stuff, it's like the stuff on the back of a Post-it note. It's always sticky, but it never dries. It's like that, only in industrial strength. So what happens every once in a while is that it busts loose. In order to reactivate a little bit, you got to heat the bottom. All right, so what I'll do is I'll take my torch and I'll look up at it like this, and I'll heat it, and I will just literally, I'll give it 10 to 15 seconds, and that's it. 10 to 15, because this stuff gets really gooey and really liquidy really fast. And then you just basically real gently go and tap it so that rattle wants to find that glue. And then just let it sit there for a little bit, and then give it one of these and see if you get rid of it. 99 times out of 100, that works. Okay. If it doesn't work, I would try it at least one or two more times to see if you can't grab it. And if it does go away, just let it set and let it cool. Once it's cool, you should be good to go. Now, if that doesn't work, there are several other options you can take. Now, on this one, it doesn't have it. Sometimes they have a little pinhole in the back with a little black dot. You can heat that up and pull it out, and you can shove more rattle stop in there. In this particular instance, since it has this, I just got a note. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. Okay, they're going to keep trying. So anyway, what you have to do in this one is you'll have to drill through and get to that hosel plug, capture that hosel plug, and push it down that way. Now, on the ones that have adapters, typically when you take it out, the head is wide open, and all you do is shove it into the hole in there, and just add another couple of squirts and try and capture it that way. But that's stopping a rattle in a nutshell. All righty. So we'll go from there. All right. Herman Ohm just switched to JPX hot metal irons recommended by Jim Ross. Jim Ross. Oh, yeah. Okay. JPX hot metals. Those are very, very nice. Jesse Ross. Oh, okay. There's Matt getting a thumbs up. He means Jesse Ross. Well, so Herman, the question is, how did you like them? They are very nice. There's Mark. How you doing, sir? Absolutely can't. His high fives and his fans after he missed the green on 15 and got his ball wet speaks volumes to his character. Yep, he's a very nice guy. Robin saying thank you. John, Robin, I hope you and James are doing well these days. The weather has become a bit more livable. No doubt, dude. And we're getting ready we're going down. We're going to be in Myrtle Beach at this weekend coming, right on the heels of the amateur. And we're going to see what kind of damage we can do to the golf course and some of the restaurants. And we'll be seeing Peter while we're down there. With all the young kids, too, Charlie appears to be very open and giving. Well, good. At least he can be a role model for somebody that, a little bit responsible and whatnot. That'd be great. Grayling, bet you can make a lot of weights for what you have to pay for in shipping. No doubt. Well, and he's also, the other part is Grayling, if you, with being a Grayling slayer, if you're working with lead, you could also, do it in the lead too. Take some of those lead river weights and convert them over. Man, that might be something. And Robin says, good luck to Peter. Ken says, hi, Robin. He is honest with his answers. Yep. And I told Robin, I said that, well, because we were driving in with the trailer, and I said, if he wins, you can watch. He's going to be crying his eyes out. And he says, why? I said, he's just that way. He's a very emotional guy, particularly when things are going his way. And his first win, he was bawling like a baby. And his first real win, professional win. And I guarantee you he was feeling it there. So good for him. Krister's in the house. All right, Krister. Happy Monday from Austin. Congrats to Tommy for hanging in on yesterday. Yes. Uh-oh. I saw one. I went a little ahead. Too honest in answers at time. Hey, sometimes you need that reality. All right. I was just going to ask you what the new club was, and it looks like it's the Epic Max LS driver. I think you'll like that one. But you're going to have to get that 80-gram X-Flex shaft in it that you like so well. Robin says, hello. Are you going to try the Ping 44 Max with a 7 degrees loft yet? I don't know. And there's Krister. Yeah, I know, Krister. Something is, I don't know. Hopefully it's gotten back, but I think the internet was kind of jacked up a little bit, and hopefully we're back to it. John shot an 81-82 on the weekend, putting it down to honeymoon phase with the new old stock Paradigm AI smoke. All right. Very well done. I was clipping it out. Hopefully we're getting over that. So Tommy won the Tour Championship, but didn't Scotty win the FedEx based on total points? I think so. This is when Robin came in and talked to me. Krister says, no, tried to get the 440 LST, but not in the 7.5. But I couldn't get the 440 LST to work for me. Oh, okay. Charles, yes, I bought 3 foot of 6 millimeter stock for $6. They didn't have 7, so a lady at the hardware sold it to me for half price. Well, look at that. At least you gave it a shot. Yeah, he did. Just think what you can make with that. They still have a lot more to get better at it. Well, yeah, you're probably only using, what, about half an inch worth of it? That's pretty good. Charles, yes, TaylorMade QI 35.8 beat it, but I couldn't pay that kind of money for a driver. I have done it in the past, but the result on course is no better than 5 to 10-year-old driver. Okay. Well, and if you got a new one, Charlie, you'd have to hold on to it for more than a week and a half to 2 weeks. Club won't know what they look like, only what they feel like. There you go. Good answer. True wisdom. I need to get my Waverly fix in. Probably have to wait until the springtime. Come on down, man. That's how I look at it too. A lot of folks do, man. That's not bad. Phil K, looking forward to your reviews of the new Mizuno 26X Pros. When might that happen? Well, my guy doesn't show up until September, and they probably won't release them until sometime after that for a while. But they've been and they got to release them in left-handed. I might be able to tell you what they're all about, but I mean, in certain fashions, they don't make a lot of lefty stuff. So hopefully they do in this one, and it would be really interesting because this is a bit of a new direction for them in this 26X stuff. So yeah, I hope to get it there. Christopher, sure, just wait a year or two and the price will come down. Yeah, we'll see it in his bag in a year or two. Is that a new iron? Yeah, so it's that silly season of golf, Charlie, and now it's time for the hot metals came out this year, so the Mizuno, what they call the Mizuno Pro, is going to come out. It's time for a switch, and I think they're going to leave the Mizuno Pro and they're going to go to these numbers, much like there's an S3 in the lineup already that came out this year and is very, very nice. These 26Xs, that 26 is for the year 26. So that's when they're coming out. So you're going to know how they turn around. If they're still going to have the Mizuno Pro, I still don't know. There's still time in December. Yep. Oh, my. Chasing those kids around all the time. John Lamb, you're absolutely correct about Tommy Fleetwood. He's a class act on tour, always seems to have time for everyone, old school style, and the fans do matter. And they reciprocate that too, right? They think that, they yell and scream for him and cheer him on and give him that positive outlook, which is about what you need. Even during break. Yeah. Yep, we have to get time in March. Oh my. So it's either spring. Well, it is spring. That's what you're talking about. Ribs, what kind of sauce did I put on them? Well, it is a hickory brown sugar sauce that is, and what they called a sticky barbecue sauce. I mixed them together, and it's that new guy. Normally, I would use we call it Bubba Ray's around here, but it's a new one. It comes in a cylinder-like tube, has a picture of a guy on it. I wish I could remember. It showed up in the Walmarts and the Sam's Club about, I'm going to say in earnest, about a year ago, 6 months to a year ago. Really good stuff. Normally when I'm doing ribs, I will do something a little sweeter like a Blue Hogs or a sticky barbecue, and then everything else gets this hickory brown sugar. Very, very, very good stuff. Matt Robin's going to miss you guys. All right. Thank you. Thumbs up. Check out what Deb did today on our channel. Okay. Chat disconnected. Never seen that one before. Man. All right, let's see if we can get down here. Working again. This glitchy stuff, man, sometimes you just got to wonder. Now, I will say that last week I got a whole bunch of updates for Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth stuff, and where you plug in, the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. Maybe it was that. I do appreciate a great golf shot, but it seems that the Ryder Cup brings out quite a few of those, and they do. They're playing when they're playing not for money, but they're playing for, we'll call it respect. They tend to turn it on a little bit. It's because they want to win cup doesn't make the position any less of our friend. We underestimate the animosity towards us come the Ryder Cup. We're all friends again when it's over. No doubt. And you hear those guys screaming USA, USA, or the Europe or whatever. Uh, I think it's fun that you want to cheer for your country, and I think when you have a good shot, you really let them know. But I don't think you do it in order to distract the other team. I don't think that is that's not good form. Rush Grant. Evening, guys. Haven't caught it live in a while. Hope everything's good. Sending kind regards from Central Ontario. Well, thank you, bud. Got any questions, let us know. I know the animosity runs rampant during the cup. It's like when I play rugby, give her hard, then after the game, shake hands and go for a few browns. Yes. Exactly right. All righty. Glad to see Brooke won. Oh, she did. I did not know that. Well, good for her. Yeah, it was awesome. I was in a league tourney, so I missed it, but amazing for Canadian golf, especially young women. That's part of the game. It's a huge gap. Yeah, that's cool. I'd like to see Brooke win. Anytime that can happen and it's, and the player is well liked, it's always good for golf. Oh, my pitching wedge met my knee for the first time. What? How do you do that? That's just weird. I believe she's the winningest Canadian golfer. Really? That's something new. Ken says, agree, John. There's going to be a lot of animosity from those New Yorkers. Oh, my God, yes. They have no idea. I mean, and the worst part is they don't, I remember when they were up there last time and Sergio Garcia was up there and he was doing those 27 regrips and the crowd wasn't having it, just not having it. And, of course, he took it for about as long as he could until his brain melted, and they got under his skin. But I'll give it to his credit. He's a very emotional player, but what the New Yorkers did was uncalled for. But in the same sense, the Sergio needed to stop regripping his club 27 times too. September came on real quick here too. Jesus, I prefer the heat because I know what's around the corner. Well, that's how it kind of started. Oh my God, I wish it would stop raining. Well, it stopped raining. We haven't had rain for almost 2 solid months. And everybody's like, well, why is my yard turning so brown? Why is it so hot? And now that it's cooling down, we'll see. It'll be nice for about a month, and then we're going to pay for all that heat with some snow. I think Brooke had every golfer in Canada pulling for her on Sunday. It was great to see. She's a sweetheart. My wife was her chauffeur when the ladies open in Cowtown. Oh, very cool. Nicely done. Peter in first after one round behind us, playing the Super Senior Gross Division 70 plus. Well, you go, boy. You go. I want to see this in first. There we go. We're gonna see Peter hoisting a marble. We're gonna see it. You're gonna let me get a picture when you win it, Peter. Just let me get a picture with it. It's like going and find the Ryder Cup. Yep. I have one question. I know they're real, but from a fitter's perspective, how have you found the 250s testing within the category? Rush, I don't do a lot with Titleist. Unfortunately, I just don't do a lot with Titleist as far as fitting goes. I've had one set in here, and I said, well, what do you think? And even for a guy that brought him a brand new set of clubs, you think, oh yeah, they'd be like, yeah, it's really nice. I got a meh out of it. I'm like, really? But I don't know. I think Titleist probably needs to refocus their amount of SKUs. If they focus their amount of SKUs so that they can get back to where they were doing, where they had, it was a desirable iron. They make really good stuff, to be sure, but that was just a go-to, and now not so much. You're correct, Charles. There we go. Saying hello. John Lamb, always want to go to Calgary Stampede. Looks like a lot of fun. Actually, a lot cooler in Atlanta. How did you like the East Lake Golf? I used to be a member there. They changed the course. Many ways, it's still beautiful. Well, we listened to it on Sunday driving back from Indiana, and the golf sounded really, really good. They're only covering the last 3 or 4 groups. And but everybody had their. I think it was a true test because everybody was having their day, and then everybody was having their trials and tribulations. So I think it was a good test. There's Brad. What do you say, buddy? Charlie. It is. The whole town becomes a Western movie set. Most folks try to look like cowboys. The only problem is to become exceptionally expensive. $12 for a beer. Oh my goodness gracious. All righty. East Lake is now more of a corporate course than so many members moved to Atlanta Country Club. Tommy is married and has got and as he got a big hug from his stepson. Very good. We like to see that. Good for him. I'm glad things are going his way now. Mike Hatrick. What do we say, buddy? Hey, Jim, hope as well. Stop stepping question. I just reshafted my ZX57 combos with taper 120s. So on stop stepping and moving the 4 to the 5, 5, 6, and so on. Okay. Wait a minute. Herman says he loves his Mizuno so far. Good for him. Thank you. Is it necessary to put a 9 into the pitching wedge because they're both the same shaft? Not really. If you got it and you can, I said yes, but you're right. They're both basically the same shaft, so I would say go ahead. Is it necessary? No. Just for my own mind and my, wanting things in line, they got to be just so. The answer would be yes, but from a physical standpoint, no. $12 on beer sounds like baseball and football games here, if not more than by now. At least in Canada, you can get a beer with a higher alcohol content. Yeah, no doubt, right? Right. All right. By the way, 10 million would make me cry too. Hell yeah. If they wanted me, I'd cry for 10 million if I want it. The driver has the old Project X Hazardous Black 6.5, 62 gram. Well, you like the shaft as far as the black and the 6.5. The 62 might be a little light for you. And that's all based on what you've done in the past, right? You've always gravitated towards those 70-gram type shafts. 62, what you might do in the Epic, I'm trying to remember. If the Epic had the slider in it, you can get the bigger slider and weight it down just a little bit. That might help you out. Jesse, lifting that huge trophy can make one shed a tear too. No kidding. Max Wire 223. Robin, Michael in Michigan here. So sorry for lack of comms, but the grips on my mom had a bad fall, landed on her at the hospital, and I'm taking a break from the golf life. Well, family is far more important, dude. Family is far more important. Granny says, I don't have a whole lot of lead. I mainly dry tie flies for fishing. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear about that. Prayers for a speedy recovery, no doubt. Fly fishing, a graceful way to fish or get stuck. Yes, I enjoy it. I used to guide for many years till I was diagnosed with leukemia. Well, now take care of yourself. Go and have fun without all those people. It's okay. I just don't have a balance of stem. I used to have all the hiking and the guaranteed client's safety while being out in the woods. Yeah, that would be bad. Got an industry friend working on lab golf. Got a personal tour of the facilities planned Friday morning. Nicely done, dude. Well done. Let us know how that goes. You'll be up there in Oregon territory. It'd be nice and cool up there. That'd be a bit of a change. On-course anger management. Oh, no. Hopefully your knee is good. I didn't see that one. Normally that stuff comes up on my feed, but I didn't see it. Just gives me time to fish myself and slowly get my back in a more mobile state. Absolutely, dude. Krista, are you limping around after the induction of the PW to your knee? No kidding. All righty. James Geiger. Jim, is the comparison rating on golf balls overrated for certain swing speeds? I found a Bridgestone BXS ball and played on the weekend, shot low round of the year, even though it's not for my 87 mile an hour swing speed. Well, I'm not going to say that it's overrated, but I will say that you really have to take a look at it. I don't think you have to get too scientific, but again, I'll go back to the fitting of the 17-year-old. Because she was very vertical, she was swinging only in the regular flex range. But what we found was the Chrome Soft XLS or the Chrome Tour ball dropped about 1,500 RPM of spin on her. Now these are very low spinning golf balls for people that come down on it on a pretty good down angle, like me. And every time she did it, because her shot when we give her let's say a high spin ball takes off and does like that, and when we give her the low spin ball, it takes off and does like that, and so yeah, there's something to be said about that. So in a normal instance, would she have ever been recommended that or anything of that nature? No. But when you go through the fitting and I see you're putting 5,000 RPM or 4,500 RPM of spin on a driver, like, yeah, we got to work on getting that down. And that's what we did. That's the reason why she's in a Mizuno, because that weight is really forward in the head, and that knocks a truckload of spin off. Then I give her that golf ball, and that 5,000 RPM is now 2,800. That is huge, right? And it's you're not bending the ball as much, and it's going forward. So you may find yourself that you're coming down on a little steep, and these little X balls are helping you out. I've been a Pro V1 guy, Pro V1 and X guy for years, but the BS feels better. Spins more. I found a new ball. Good for you. And honestly, I don't know if it's a spin more or just spins better. That could be a different. Charles Bartholomew got some back pain. Back pain? Bring yourself in the knee is probably from that, from yelling back and forth. All right, let's see. Here we go. I don't have anything just yet. Then maybe it came in the mail. Let's see there. Nope, not yet. Hasn't got here. Apparently that nope. Not here yet, bud. But again, the way my internet's acting up, I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't see it till tomorrow. I want to see some pictures, dude. All right. Charles, golfing a few times a week is helping with regaining his strength in the legs too. Well, good for you, dude. The LS has the slider weight in the back. Okay. So, when you get this, Krister, send me a picture of it. Send me a picture of it. I might be able to help you out. If it feels light, go play with it. And if it feels light, then let me know. Don't get rid of it just right. Don't get rid of it just yet. Okay? And let me know. I don't know how the FedEx Cup works now. They gave Tommy the FedEx trophy, so do they even pay out on the point system? We were talking about that at work today, and it used to be you had the FedEx Cup tournament winner, and then the FedEx Point and the FedEx Systems winner. So I think overall that Scotty, he's like the number one player in the world, where Tommy is the FedEx Cup champion, and that's by the tournament name, not necessarily by points. Man, just love your show. Thank you. You're more than welcome, dude. You are more than welcome. Charlie, I'm telling you, if you can find it, that Booker's in the 01, holy cow. Wow. Decent. Very, 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 very good. Wow. So, all right. So the other part, Charlie, is we found another place. It was called Bear Wallow. I cannot believe they even have a name like that, but it's a pretty nice place to visit. All righty. So here we go. So next Monday, we will be in Myrtle Beach. We will be in Myrtle Beach, and I don't know. I don't know if that's where we're seeing Peter or not, but someday, once I figure out my schedule, I'll send out a little note. It'll be on the YouTube community, so keep your eye out on that one, and then let's see what happens from there. The intention is that Bob and I will be talking about the golf courses that we played, show you a bunch of pictures, and see about that. That should be fine, and we should be okay. Oh, does the modern OptiFit adapter work with the Pro Hot driver? Yes. So what you'll see is on the bottom of the X2 Hot, it's got that little ball-like gizmo, and that's plastic. If you pull that off, it looks just like the new adapter. And I think you can get away with it and put it in there. As long as it's solid, you're good to go. If it wiggles, no. Have fun in Myrtle Beach. We intend on doing just that very thing, Charlie. We're going to see if Penny can. She's on a running streak of being able to pick some 1792. That's just outstanding down there. So we're going to put her to the test and see if she can do it again. And we're going to see just whether or not I can get my form back by playing down there. This ought to be a treat. I just hit some balls just before coming in there, and all I got to do is keep telling myself half swing, half swing, half swing. When I do, I just absolutely hit it. At least when I hit it, it feels good, and that's pretty much I'll take that all day. If it goes straight and it gets out there and it's a little short, I can always chip. All righty. So we made it just 3 minutes past. That's not too bad. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, if you don't mind, Pars and Pours on the other channel. And thank you guys again from around the world, man. Canada, Sweden, it's all over the place. All over the U.S. It's great. So again, we'll watch for the view. The intention is same bat time, same bat channel on Monday. Just be talking about Myrtle Beach. And again, guys, like always, let's see your scores go low.